100 crazy facts to truly blow your mind. If you want to read some mind-blowing facts you're not sure where to look, then check out these 100 awesome facts that will truly make your mind explode. The reason the taste of artificial banana flavoring and artificial banana-flavored products doesn't taste like bananas is because it is based on a type of banana that was wiped out by a plague in the 1950s. Australia has over 10,000 beaches. You could visit a new beach every day for over 27 years. It was Nicolas Cage who first advised Johnny Depp to pursue a career in acting, during the mid-1980s. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn. The directors of the film Despicable Me actually wrote their own language for the minions called Minionize. The mayor of the Alaskan town, Talkeetna, is called Stubbs and has been mayor of the town since July 1997. Stubbs is a cat. The Nazis were the first ever people in modern history to start an anti-smoking and tobacco movement. Due to the humid and moist conditions that a sloth lives in, moss and other similar plants will sometimes grow in its hair. Sloths also have very bad eyesight. These two factors can sometimes culminate in a sloth grabbing its own arm, whilst thinking it is a branch, and falling to its death. Every year in June a bizarre festival takes place in the village of Castrillo de Murcia near Burgos in Spain, during which men dress up like the devil and then jump over babies born in the previous 12 months of the year, known as El Colacho. This strange custom is part of the country-wide Corpus Christi celebrations, yet only happens in this small village. Viagra, when dissolved in water, can make cut flowers stay erect for up to a week longer than they usually would. Try it. There is an uninhabited island in the Bahamas known as Pig Beach, which is populated entirely by swimming pigs. Catnip is 10 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes than DEET, the main substance used in insect repellents. If eaten in one meal, 30 to 90 grams of polar bear liver is enough to kill a human being. American microbiologist Morris Ralph Hillerman is accredited with developing 8 of the 14 routine vaccinations used today, these being measles, mumps, hepatitis A/B, chickenpox, meningitis, pneumonia, and hemophilia influenza. He also discovered that chlamydia was not a virus as it was previously thought to be. In 2002 alone, more people in the US were killed by dogs than in shark attacks in the past 100 years. American College, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, deems certain students who take courses in pistol marksmanship, archery, sailing and fencing as certified pirates. It is predicted that the reason why night insects, such as moths, are attracted to lights is because they mistake them for the light of the moon, which they used to navigate the Earth before mankind made artificial lights. Justin Bieber once held up a sign from his hotel room window saying, "Go to McDonald's and get me a Big Mac." He got his Big Mac. In the early 1900s, lobster was considered the cockroach of the ocean and was synonymous with the poor, often eaten regularly by the homeless, slaves and prisoners. It wasn't until after World War II that lobster became considered a delicacy and a food associated with the aristocratic classes. Hares are born with fur and can see, whilst rabbits are born naked and blind. In the 16th century, it was a common belief amongst people that the mandrake plant grew only where the ejaculated semen of a dead hanged man touched the ground. Film producer Jeffrey Katzenberg revived the Walt Disney Studios by producing some of their biggest hits, The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. After these he requested a promotion, and was then abruptly fired by them. He then swore revenge against Disney and founded DreamWorks Studios. On Black Friday 2014, Cards Against Humanity was removed from being on sale and replaced with a bullshit box, on sale for $6. This box contained literal feces from an actual bull, as the description stated on their site. This was to protest to the Black Friday shopping craziness where shoppers will literally buy anything on sale. This special Black Friday edition of Cards Against Humanity sold over 30,000 copies, where all buyers actually received a box of bull poo. Through the use of optogenetics, scientists were able to create a false memory within a mouse's brain. This was done by marking the neurons that fired in the mouse's brain when in one environment, transferring the mouse to a second environment and making these neurons fire whilst shocking the mouse's feet, then transferring the mouse back to the first environment. This made the mouse believe it had had an unpleasant experience in the first environment when in fact it hadn't. On one of the islands off the west coast of Australia lies Lake Hillier. A bright, bubble-gum pink lake. Despite not being the only colored lake in the world, it is unique because it is the only colored lake where scientists have not yet determined what causes it to be such a bright pink. In 2005, Iraqi insurgents tried to convince American officials that they were holding an American soldier hostage and meant to kill him if Iraqi prisoners were not released. However, their supposed hostage turned out to be a military action figure, not an actual soldier. In 2014, Netflix spent zero on marketing its DVD rental business, but over 6 million people still used it. There is a German technique of swordsmanship known as Mordhau, which consists of gripping the sword inverted with both hands and using brute force to incapacitate your enemy with the pommel or cross guard. In 1969, a musician named Jim Sullivan recorded an album called UFO, which featured strange lyrics about leaving his family and being abducted by aliens. Sullivan disappeared 6 years later without a trace, the only piece of evidence being his abandoned car found on a desert road. In the film Star Wars Episode III, Revenge of the Sith, every single one of the clone troopers was produced using CGI effects. There is now technology built into some guns in America that allow a gun's owner to control the safety catch using their smartphone or tablet. In China, 2013, scientists were able to grow a human tooth from scratch using stem cells taken from urine. French author Alexandre Dumas, The Three Musketeers, was promoted to general by age 31, making him the first Afro-Antilles person to reach that rank in the French army. Spiked and studded dog collars derive from the days of the ancient Greeks, who would give their sheepdogs sharply spiked collars to protect their necks from wolves whilst they watched over a shepherd's flock at night. The world record for the largest pineapple was grown in 2011 by Christine McCallum from Bakewell, Australia. The pineapple measured 32 centimeters long and weighed an incredible 8.28 kilograms. A study has shown that a male zebrafinch is less likely to court a female zebrafinch if he did not form any social friendships with female zebrafinches when younger. Artist Salvador Dali would often get out of paying for drinks and meals by drawing on the checks, making them priceless works of art and therefore uncashable. The MMORPG EVE Online hosted the world's largest ever online battle in space on 28 July 2013. It lasted over 5 hours and was fought between 4,000 players. Hawaii's state flag is the only U.S. state flag to feature the Union Jack upon it. Originally, Marge Simpson's hairstyle was designed that way because the creator, Matt Groening, wanted to hide her rabbit ears. The first computer for business use was developed and pioneered by a British tea shop called Lyons in the 1950s. The Leo Lyons Electronic Office contained 6,000 valves and was built by Cambridge mathematician John Simmons to add up the receipts of iced buns. Surgeons who play video games at least 3 hours a week perform 27 faster and make 37 fewer errors. The word quarantine derives from the Venetian dialect of Italian and the words quarantagiorni, meaning 40 days. This is because when it was discovered that ships were infested with plague-carrying rats, they were made to sit at anchor outside Venice's city walls for 40 days before coming ashore. There is a blind man in America, Daniel Kish, who uses echolocation to navigate in the same way as a bat. He does this by producing a clicking sound with his tongue and then listening intently for the sound waves to bounce back. Approximately 1 million dogs in the US are named as the heirs of their owners' wills. In an interview with Taylor Swift in 2005, she was told, "If music doesn't work out, you could be a hair model." 7 years later, the same woman interviewed her again and apologized for what she said. In a survival situation, if you were to drink seawater, it would rapidly dehydrate you and soon lead to your death. However, it is vastly less harmful to eat frozen seawater. This is because it contains 1/10 the amount of salt as its liquid form, due to the fact that the salt is separated from the water when freezing as it does not fit into the crystalline structure of ice. In 2012, an Afghan Taliban commander Mohammed Ashan turned himself in to local authorities, trying to claim the $100 reward prize he had seen on a poster for his arrest. The organization, Cult Awareness Network, once listed Scientology as its one most dangerous cult. Scientology then sued the Cult Awareness Network and bought them out in a hostile takeover. Due to the extremely warm weather in the summer of 2013, several nuclear power plants across the world, including ones in Japan, Israel and Scotland, were forced to close down because of a sudden increase in the population of jellyfish. The mass amounts of jellyfish clogged the filters that draw seawater into the power plants in order to cool down their reactors. When written down, the word almost is the longest word in the English language to have all of its letters in alphabetical order. In Canada, 2012, doctors were able to communicate with a man in a vegetative state. Coma patient Scott Rootley was able to tell doctors by using his thoughts that he was not in any pain. The country of Liechtenstein has an extremely low crime rate, and according to one member of their police, there hasn't been a murder in Liechtenstein since the late 1990s. Liechtenstein's entire police force consists of 91 officers and 34 civilian staff, just 125 in total. A study was conducted that showed customers in a bookstore were 3.48 times more likely to peruse romantic books if the store smelt of chocolate, and 5.93 times more likely to buy them. Sonic the Hedgehog has registered itself in Guinness Book of World Records for being the fastest gaming character ever. France has conducted 210 nuclear weapon tests, more than the United Kingdom, China, India, and North Korea combined. This is scarcely a fifth of the amount conducted by the United States, however, who have conducted roughly 1,054 tests. Iran carries out more gender change operations than any other country in the world. According to official statistics, Iran has somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 transsexuals inhabiting it, although unofficial statistics place that number at approximately 150,000. There is an Australian man, James Harrison, who has a singularly unique blood plasma composition that has been used to cure rhesus disease, a hemolytic disease that affects newborn babies. He has donated his blood plasma over 1,000 times. In 2011, Chinese surgeons were able to remove the rusty, 4-inch end of a broken blade from the skull of a man who claimed it had been stuck in there for 4 years. The man had been stabbed in the lower jaw by a thief 4 years previously and the blade had snapped off, getting stuck in his head. Put a Pillow on Your Fridge Day is celebrated on the 29th of May in Europe, USA, and supposedly brings good luck and wealth to the household. When people are struck by lightning, the mark that appears on their afflicted area afterwards looks like an intricately detailed silhouette of a fern tree and is known as lightning tree or sometimes lightning flower. This occurs due to delicate capillaries rupturing beneath the skin from the shock of the electrical discharge. In Bordeaux, France, 1940, Portuguese diplomat Aristides de Sousa Mendes issued an estimated 30,000 Portuguese travel visas in order to Jewish families flee persecution from the Nazis. Once his superiors had learned of his actions, he was ordered back to Portugal, dismissed from office and denied his pension benefits. Sousa Mendes went on to die in 1954, impoverished and unsung. Household cleaner Cillit Bang was used to clean plutonium stains away in a defunct nuclear power plant in Scotland as it was being dismantled. Bang and the radiation is gone. On the 23rd of May 2012, the American nuclear submarine USS Miami was damaged beyond repair by a fire whilst it was docked up in a naval shipyard. Although the start of this fire was unclear at first, civilian employee Casey J. Fury later admitted to starting the fire in order to get out of work early. For this he was sentenced to 17 years in a federal prison, ordered to pay $400 million in recompense. The tea bag was an accidental invention. This occurred in 1908 when tea merchant Thomas Sullivan distributed his tea samples in small, silken bags. His customers, not understanding that these were samples, dunked them and suddenly Sullivan was swamped with orders for his tea bags. As of May 2015, 2.3 million Americans still subscribed to AOL dial-up internet. Nokia was originally founded in 1865 as a paper printing company. Apt to say when it was founded, paper was one of the world's most used methods of long-distance communication. The world's biggest ever recorded turtle was a leatherback turtle that washed up Harlech Beach, Wales, in 1988. It was estimated to be 100 years old, and was almost 9 foot in length, weighing a tumultuous 2,016 pounds. Archaeologists in London have found a Mesolithic tool-making factory that gives substantial proof human beings were living on the River Thames 7000 BC. That's over 9,000 years ago. A dachshund, aka a sausage dog, was originally bred to hunt in low, narrow badger burrows. In fact, the term Dachshund translates from German as badger dog. In early 2013, guards inside a prison camp in the Komi region of Russia caught a cat climbing over the fence that was being used to smuggle mobile phones, chargers and batteries into the prison. This was done by people taping the equipment to the cat's back and then having the cat climb over the fences to reach the prisoners inside. The word oxymoron is itself an oxymoron. This is because it derives from ancient Greek where oxy means sharp and moros means stupid. Bruno Mars' birth name is Peter Jean Bayet Hernandez. His stage name, Bruno Mars, was inspired by the wrestler Bruno Sammartino. This was because as a child, Bruno was independent, confident and strong-willed, like the wrestler. Mars came along because he was often told he was out of this world by the girls, so he used the planet Mars as his last name. 2013 was the first year since 1987 to feature 4 different numbers. The term deadline comes from the American Civil War. Prisoners would have lines drawn around them in the dirt, and if they crossed this line then they would be executed by their guards. Both prisoners and guards soon took to calling this line the dead line. There is an island that sits in the middle of the Bay of Bengal called North Sentinel Island. The indigenous people of this island have never been colonized by the outside world and are extremely hostile, attacking anyone who invades their land without fear. What makes this even more interesting is that, when taken from the island, these people exhibit symptoms of a mystery illness before dying if they are not returned. In Soviet labor camps, prisoners would ingest a condom attached to a length of rubber tubing, fill it up with raw alcohol, then smuggle themselves back into the camp. Once there, they would be suspended upside down by the other prisoners and used as a human keg. During the First World War, so many starving wolves had amassed together in a great pack that opposing German and Russian forces formed a temporary alliance in order to fight them off. Take Your Houseplants for a Walk Day is celebrated on the 27th of July. On this bizarre day, people walk their houseplants around, so they can get to know their environment a little more, which supposedly provides the plants with a sense of knowing and familiarization to their surround areas. In 2010, Japan's government decided to check up on many of the more aged members of its community. What it found, however, was that many of Japan's oldest citizens had died, and that their children had hid their deaths in order to carry on cashing their numerous pension checks. Murphy beds have been attributed as the cause of people's deaths before. Most recently in 2005, when two women were trapped and suffocated to the death by their Murphy bed. The least financially successful Harry Potter film made approximately $90 million more than the most successful Twilight movie. In late 2013, the first carnivorous mammal to be discovered within the Western Hemisphere was found by Dr. Christopher Helgen. It is called the olinguito and is a member of the raccoon family. In 2002, Brazilian mechanic Alfredo Moser invented a new type of lamp that uses absolutely no electric whatsoever. The Moser lamp is created using a plastic bottle filled with water and the smallest bit of bleach to stop the bottle turning green with algae, and works through the refraction of natural light, kicking out roughly 40 to 60 watts per lamp. They are becoming popular in many countries where electricity is an expensive commodity, and have been fitted in over 140,000 homes in the Philippines. Despite the success of his invention, Alfredo Moser has not become rich from it, but has instead a great sense of pride at his altruism. Here is an island that sits in the middle of the Bay of Bengal called North Sentinel Island. The indigenous people of this island have never been colonized by the outside world and are extremely hostile, attacking anyone who invades their land without fear. What makes this even more interesting is that, when taken from the island, these people exhibit symptoms of a mystery illness before dying if they are not returned. In Soviet labor camps, prisoners would ingest a condom attached to a length of rubber tubing, fill it up with raw alcohol, then smuggle themselves back into the camp. Once there, they would be suspended upside down by the other prisoners and used as a human keg. During the First World War, so many starving wolves had amassed together in a great pack that opposing German and Russian forces formed a temporary alliance in order to fight them off. Take Your Houseplants for a Walk Day is celebrated on the 27th of July. On this bizarre day, people walk their houseplants around, so they can get to know their environment a little more, which supposedly provides the plants with a sense of knowing and familiarization to their surround areas. In 2010, Japan's government decided to check up on many of the more aged members of its community. What it found, however, was that many of Japan's oldest citizens had died, and that their children had hid their deaths in order to carry on cashing their numerous pension checks. Murphy beds have been attributed as the cause of people's deaths before. Most recently in 2005, when two women were trapped and suffocated to the death by their Murphy bed. The least financially successful Harry Potter film made approximately $90 million more than the most successful Twilight movie. In late 2013, the first carnivorous mammal to be discovered within the Western Hemisphere was found by Dr. Christopher Helgen. It is called the olinguito and is a member of the raccoon family. In 2002, Brazilian mechanic Alfredo Moser invented a new type of lamp that uses absolutely no electric whatsoever. The Moser lamp is created using a plastic bottle filled with water and the smallest bit of bleach to stop the bottle turning green with algae, and works through the refraction of natural light, kicking out roughly 40 to 60 watts per lamp. They are becoming popular in many countries where electricity is an expensive commodity, and have been fitted in over 140,000 homes in the Philippines. Despite the success of his invention, Alfredo Moser has not become rich from it, but has instead a great sense of pride at his altruism.